From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the National Book Festival. I'm Rob Casper, the head of the Poetry and Literature Center at the Library of Congress, and I want to welcome you to the Poetry and Prose Pavilion and our 1 p.m. program on poetry with Marie Howe and Adrian Matejka. We want to thank the co-chairman of the festival, David Rubenstein, and the many National Book Festival sponsors who made this event possible in 2017, and those who have supported it year after year. I want to make a special shout out to those folks in the back, the National Endowment for the Arts, for all their support to make this pavilion possible. You too can support the festival with the gift of a donation by checking the information on the festival program and on the app. We welcome your help in making the festival possible next year and every year. The festival would not be possible without the support of sponsors and book lovers. 2 other housekeeping items I want to bring up. First, please turn off your cell phones and any electronic devices that might interfere with the recording of this event. Second, we'll try to fit in a Q&A after our conversation, and if you choose to participate, you give us permission to use the recording and put it in our archives, which is a great and wonderful thing. When I got together with the great folks at the NEA to discuss this year's Poetry and Prose Pavilion, we thought we'd try a new model. Instead of simply featuring a single poet or writer, this year we're trying a few fun pairings. And our first pairing features 2 poets, Marie Howe and Adrian Matejka, who've never met, but whose work and current books have much to say to one another. Let me do a quick introduction, and then we will start off with a reading and a moderated conversation. Marie Howe is the author of 4 collections, including the National Book Series selection, The Good Thief, and Magdalene, published in March by W.W. Norton and Company. The Poet Laureate of New York State from 2012 to 2014, Howe's honors include fellowships from the Academy of American Poets and the Guggenheim Foundation. In 1992, she received a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship. Howe teaches at Sarah Lawrence College in Bronxville, New York. Adrian Matejka is the author of 4 poetry collections, most recently Mapped to the Stars, also published in March of this year by Penguin. His second mixology was a National Book Series selection, and his third, The Big Smoke, received the Ainsfield Wolf Book Award. Matejka is the recipient of fellowships from Cave Canem, the Guggenheim Foundation, and the Lannan Foundation. He teaches creative writing at Indiana University in Bloomington. So please join me in welcoming first Marie Howe and then Adrian Matejka.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I got lost. Who else got lost today? I'm so honored to be here with Adrian. I'm his biggest fan. I've just read his book, Mapped to the Stars, this week, and I just was shouting out loud in a room by myself when I was reading it. So alive. I'm really happy to be with Rob, master of all ceremonies. This book, Magdalene, poems were written one by one, and I didn't realize that I would eventually call the collection Magdalene. It refers to Mary Magdalene, the archetypical character who we remember was one of Jesus's followers. I grew up in that tradition, and those stories are really important to me. But even as a young girl, I knew that the story about her was not right. That she, when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, was depicted by the early church fathers and most of the painters as a penitent woman. And she struck me as being an emblem of the wound many women feel, maybe all women feel, which is we are split. We have been split by the patriarchal culture into a body or a soul, or a sacred or profane, or the virgin or the whore. Magdalene was the whore, Mary was the virgin, Magdalene was repentant, Mary had nothing to be sorry about. That didn't seem right to me. So part of the very unconscious intention of the book was to try to approach this wound from the voice of a contemporary woman and to try in her own way to kind of begin to speak to it and to heal it. Before the beginning, was I ever virgin? Did someone touch me before I could speak? Who had me before I knew I was an I? So that I wanted that touch again and again without knowing who or why or from whence it came. On men, their bodies. One penis was very large and thick, so when he put it inside me, I really did say, wow. One penis was uncircumcised, and I loved to grip the shaft and pull down so the head popped out like a little man. One penis was curved, so I had to move in a different way. One penis was so friendly, I was never afraid of it. One penis was so slender, I was startled. One penis was blunt and short like a little pig. One penis couldn't harden until he stuffed it soft inside me. One penis came as soon as I started to move. I'm so sorry, he said. I have a problem, but I didn't care. I loved that boy. One penis pressed against me hard almost every morning, but I got out of bed as if I hadn't heard a word it had said. One penis was so dear to me, I kissed it and kissed it, even after I knew it had been with someone else. One penis I never saw, but my hand came to know it from the outside of his jeans. One penis loved the inside of my mouth so much it sang. It sputtered. One had a name. One was a mouse. One, he explained to me, had very, very tiny crabs, so we couldn't have sex for a while. One was Orthodox and wouldn't touch blood. One had a mole, a hard little dot just under the skin. One penis was extremely patient without making a big deal about it. One penis had a great sense of humor. One penis had herpes, but I didn't know that word yet. One was a battering ram. One was a drunk, staggering, a lout, a bully. One slept inside me, comfortably at home. The affliction. When I walked across the room, I saw myself walking as if I were someone else. When I picked up a fork, when I pulled off a dress, as if I were in a movie. It's what I thought you saw when you looked at me. So when I looked at you, I didn't see you. I saw the me I thought you saw, as if I were someone else. I called that outside watching. Well, I didn't call it anything when it happened all the time. But one morning, after I'd stopped taking the pills, standing in the kitchen for 1 second, I was inside looking out. Then I popped back outside and saw myself looking. Would it happen again? It did. A few days later, My friend Wendy was pulling on her winter coat, standing by the kitchen door, and suddenly I was inside, and I saw her. I looked out from my own eyes, and I saw her eyes, blue, gray, transparent, and inside them, Wendy herself. Then I was outside again. And Wendy was saying, bye-bye, see you soon, as if nothing had happened. She hadn't noticed. She hadn't known that I had been there for maybe 40 seconds, and that then I was gone. She hadn't noticed that I hadn't been there for months, years, the entire time she had known me. I needn't have been embarrassed to have been there for those seconds. She had not noticed the difference. This happened on and off for weeks, and then I was looking at my old friend John. Suddenly, I was in, and I saw him, and this was almost unbearable. He saw me see him, and I saw him see me. He said something like, "You're going to be okay now," or "It's been difficult, hasn't it?" But what he said mattered only a little. We met in our mutual gaze, in between a third place I had not yet been. One of the pieces of information we do have about the original Magdalene was that she was possessed by 7 devils. Oh, that's what everybody's looking at. Because it's so interesting, because I'm looking at you, but some of you are looking at her. Oh my God. It's a good thing I can't see that. Woo! You know, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See? There's the split. There's the body, there's the soul, and we're trying to bring them together. So you guys are the soul side. You're the body side. Let's hear it. Woo! What an extraordinary feeling this is. Glad you're with me in it. Mary called Magdalene, from whom 7 devils had been cast out. That's from Luke chapter 8, verse 2. Anybody in the room have any devils? Thank you. Very much beautiful, Catherine. Anybody else want to admit to devils, since Catherine and I have admitted to them? Oh, good. More. Yet more. Well, I got thinking about these devils because, of course, when they're in the scripture, they seem frightening indeed, don't they? But, of course, many of us, bedeviled. So, here's Magdalene talking about her 7 devils. Maybe you'll recognize the first one. The first one was that I was very busy. The second, I was different from you. Whatever happened to you could not happen to me. Not like that. The third, I worried. The fourth, envy, disguised as compassion. The fifth was that I refused to consider the quality of life of the aphid. The aphid disgusted me, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. And the mosquito too, its face. And the ant, its bifurcated body. Okay, the first was that I was so busy. The second, that I might make the wrong choice because I had decided to take that plane, that day, that flight before noon, so as to arrive early, and I shouldn't have wanted that. The third was that if I walked past a certain place on the street, the house might blow up. The fourth, I was made of guts and blood with a thin layer of skin lightly thrown over the whole thing. The fifth was that the dead seemed more alive to me than the living. The sixth, if I touched my right arm, I had to touch my left arm. And if I touched the left arm a little harder than I'd first touched the right, then I had to retouch the left and then touch the right again, so it would be even. The seventh, I knew I was breathing the expelled breath of everything that was alive, and I couldn't stand it. I wanted a sieve, a mask, I hate this word, a cheesecloth to breathe through that would trap it, whatever was inside everyone else that entered me when I breathed in. No, that was the first one. The second was that I was so busy. I had no time. How had this happened? How had our lives gotten like this? The third was that I couldn't eat food if I really saw it distinct and separate from me in a bowl or on a plate. Okay, the first was that I could never get to the end of the list. The second was that the laundry was never finally done. The third was that no one knew me, although they thought they did, and that if people thought of me as little as I thought of them, then what was love? The fourth was that I didn't belong to anyone. I wouldn't allow myself to belong to anyone. The fifth was that I knew none of us could ever know what we didn't know. The sixth was that I projected onto others what I myself was feeling. The seventh was the way my mother looked when she was dying. The sound she made, her mouth wrenched to the right and cupped open so as to take in as much air, the gurgling sound, so loud we had to speak louder to hear each other over it, and then I couldn't stop hearing it. Years later, grocery shopping, crossing the street. No, not the sound. It was her body's hunger, finally evident, what our mother had hidden all her life. For months, I dreamt of knuckle bones and roots, the slabs of sidewalk pushed up like crooked teeth by what grew underneath. The underneath, that was the first devil. It was always with me, and that I didn't think you, if I told you, would understand any of this. Thank you.
Peace, DC. It's good to be here. So, Marie Howe. So, Rob pointed out that I'd never met her until today, but I've been reading her poems for years. And so to finally get to be here with her is this great honor. And it's also one of those reminders when you see someone who's able to do all the things you wish you could do, but you can't. So I was listening to these poems and thinking, I want to do that. I wish I could do that, but I can't. So I'm going to read some poems about Indianapolis. Has anybody been to Indianapolis? You know, okay, so the four of us know. Right? Like, we're keeping it real for the Midwest. Now, when I brought this idea to my editor, I think he was a little bit concerned that people wouldn't know what Indianapolis is. But it's a great city, you know. I'm from there. So I'm going to read the title poem from this, and this entire book takes place in Indianapolis between the years of 1981 and 1988. So some of us in the room were here back then, and some of us weren't. It's called Map to the Stars. A Schwinn ride away, Eagledale Plaza, busted shopping strip of old walkways, crooked parking spaces nicked like the lines on the sides of somebody's mom-barbered head. Anchored by the Piccadilly disco where a shootout was guaranteed every weekend, coughing stars shot from sideways guns, shiny enough to light the way, willing for anyone to look up long enough to see. Not me. I bought the Star Map shirt for 15 cents at the Value Village next to the Piccadilly in the daytime. The shirt was polyester with flyaway collars outlined in the forgotten astronomies of disco. The shirt's washed out points of light arranged in horse and hero shapes, and I rocked it in places neither horse nor hero hung out. Polyester is made from polyethylene and catches fire easily like wings near a thrift store sun. Polyethylene used in shampoo bottles, gun cases, and those grocery sacks skidding like upended stars across the parking lot. There are more kinds of stars in this universe than salt granules on drive-through fries. Too many stars, lessening and swelling with each pedal pump away from the Value Village as the beaming billboard above flashes first one DUI attorney and then another who speaks Spanish, so the sky above is constantly chattering like the biggest disco ball ever. So one of the things that I learned, I think writing books is always an act of learning. Like I learned about all my neuroses, all my devils too, and one of my neuroses is Jean-Michel Basquiat's paintings. I think they're fabulous and frightening to me. And as a black man of mixed descent, they speak to me in a particular kind of way, the bifurcation of art. And so this is a poem called Trumpets Up in Here, and it's after a painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat called Trumpet. The sprawl and broken crawl on the back of Basquiat's paints, the thin cleft of villainous pigment wrapping each frame like the syntax of somebody else's relaxed explanation of lateness. What had happened was, below blackened crowns, below words crossed out as a reminder of what is underneath, potholes, ashy elbows, and breath that, in the cold, comes out in red light and complaint shapes, 3 lines from Miles' mouth in the habit of tardy remuneration. All of that 3-triggered agitation, all that angry-fingered fruition like Indianapolis's 3 skyscrapered sky when the smile goes down and even the sun and the colors themselves start talking like the same suspicious idiom as a brass instrument, thin throat like a fist, flat declinations of pastors and teachers in the Christmas at the inner city, shoulders back and heads up while playing in the holiday choir of hungry paints, chins covered in red scribbles in all the songs. So I had this, I don't know if this is a thing that's useful, but I grew up very poor, and it was something I was embarrassed of, and I couldn't talk about while I was poor because I was busy trying not to be, you know what I mean? And I can only talk about it now because I'm comfortable in a different way. But I grew up very poor, and then my mother married my stepfather, whose name is Matejka, that's where I got my last name. And we moved from the Section 8 housing straight out to the suburbs. And it was incredible. We went from having nothing to everything in like 2 days. It's miraculous, right? Opening and closing the refrigerator door to make sure that the food was still there, that kind of thing. So I want to read a poem about that move. It's called Out of Here Blacks. And we were out, man. We never going back there again. Out of here blacks. As soon as Mom married Pops, off to the suburbs, a realm of glamorously blue swimming pools, carpools, and a spinning rack of comic books out in front of the village pantry. We were out of carriage house like kids as soon as the math turns his back. We were out like juice boxes after lunch. We were on the west side, nowhere near our old neighborhood like a well-organized poverty protest. No moving trucks because we didn't have anything to move out. We were so out of there I had to call long distance to tell Garrett we'd gone. We were outside our chalk-lined piece of town like a bad pitch. We were outlying that old spot like perfectly spelled gentrifications. We were as out of bounds as the how and why of black kids with 2 white parents now. Desegregation out here. I got me some ice cream out here like an Eddie Murphy impersonation by the water cooler. We were as uncomfortable as a black joke in our air-conditioned and well-festooned new home. All right, so I'm gonna just read 2 more poems. I'm gonna read them about the suburbs, right? Because it's one thing to think about not having, it's another thing to realize everybody in the suburbs in the 80s played Fleetwood Mac. That's real talk, right? So I mentioned the album Rumors in this poem, and I also mentioned a thing called a record changer, which some of us will know, but others don't. It was like an L-shaped device you put on top of a record player, and then you could stack records on top of it, and they would drop down like a pretend continuous play. So in this poem, this guy has this record changer, and he had, well, I'll tell you after I read it. Record changer. To the left of the neighbor's barbecue, variations of the same house, ringed by the same foliage, adolescent bushes there, green tufts of low-lying sky. Dads, red-faced and bearded in the back someplace, turning pure meat over hot coals. The record player is inside, woodbox speaker propped in the windows. To the right, across the still-seated yard, our two-story just as square and as impeccable as the rest. We want Prince, but Rumors keeps restarting itself. Now here you go again, you say. One neighbor asks, now where did you come from again? And we say California, like Fleetwood Mac. And nobody asks anything else. And because nobody hunts for dinner in the suburbs, we put down our implements of half-step and appetite, sidestep the moon as it descends into a whole plate full of charred thighs and wings. We collectivize the back-in-the-days ways as tenaciously as chicken legs undress themselves at a cul-de-sac party. Then we raise those strip bones up for history. Out here, there isn't any history, so history is whatever you want it to be. So here's what I was about to tell you. So this guy, this bearded man who had this barbecue, which was the first barbecue I'd ever been to, do you realize how much food is at a barbecue if you've never been to one? It's incredible. Stacks and stacks. He had 4 copies of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, and he put them A-side to B-side like this. And these things keep dropping down and it just keeps going over and over again. And I get it now. It's a good album. It's not Prince. All right, so I'm going to read a poem about the next day and then one very small piece of a poem for Marie. So this is the next morning after the barbecue. Strange celestial roads. There's a father sleeping it off in the master bedroom of every house in the cul-de-sac the morning after. So Saturday morning is a snooze. The moon is still out, eyeballing the quiet streets like Sun Ra did his orchestra. Somebody had to be a father figure for all those musical notes. No school buses to huff after, no mothers yelling their children onward. The only weekend noise is us, kicking rocks. So bored we can't even hear each other on a celestial swirl of asphalt that will be a playground one day. We stand, right feet extended in unison like foosmen, rock after rock arcing at sorry angles toward the open bar that hopes to dangle 4 swings. Some rocks go through, some miss as we balance on concrete meant to backstop hopscotch and echo knock-knock jokes. Not somebody's father yelling, "You got to be kidding me," after he opens up the property tax bill. These bars were placed here for some other future kids to be dragged from by big ears or hair-matted necks back to the unavoidable arguments, the fist-to-face noises, and the sweet bleeding saxophones that come after. All right, so this is the last thing I'm going to read. In the middle of this book is a very long poem called Sounds in Sequential Order, and it's based on the music the classifications of music on the record, the golden record inside the Voyager space probe. And I'm just going to read 2 of them. Rob, thanks for this one. Yeah, this is really great. Sounds in Sequential Order, edit. Music of the spheres. Frequencies get lean out here, echoing like abandoned ghosts, rattling the forgotten umbrellas and coatless hangers in the front hall closet. Everyone ghosted as soon as the summonses came, and the exodus sounded just like the star Jansky didn't mean to record when he tried to fix the telephone lines. This part of the sphere doesn't have working phones, so what do we go to next? To the rooms of vacant advice and gilded paintings where the have-it-all live? To the quadraphonic systems and wood-cheeked speakers? A golden record and a pulsar map and binary arithmetic plays at 16 2/3 RPMs, while the record changer stacks requests for traveling music, one LP settling on top of another LP, a platter of orbits for the rest of the intergalactic voyagers. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and thunder. The fact is, the Earth doesn't rest. It spins and breaks like an LP stepped on too many times. Polyvinyl chloride backing up into itself. Raw bone slopes quaking in elemental underthings when nobody's around to prey on it. All these migratory people, hymnals in hands, who know the chorus, but want to hear the song over and over, again and again. Thank you.
these guys, oop, is this one on? Yeah, you can hear me. While these guys put their lavs on, I'm sure you feel the same way I do, that this is how two poets should meet one another, by shaking hands and reading on stage, and then chatting a little bit in front of whoever's there with them. You were tremendous. What a great argument for the variety of lyric charge that we have in American poetry. You both read so differently and proved the power of voice. I wanted to talk, to begin, about the notion of an I, about autobiographical speaker and a speaker who is clearly a historic persona, and what these books meant to you in terms of getting at that voice. And do you want me to help you?
Can you hear me? It's not on.
No, there
Is
you
it
go.
on?
Yeah. Point there, that way.
This way, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know what
You
historical...
know, just hold it up.
Like that?
Yeah, that's
How's
good.
that?
Can you hear him? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right.
There was no historical persona in my book.
A cultural persona.
Yeah, but she's me. She's me and every other woman I know, you know, so I don't mean to say only me, but I really meant her to be a contemporary woman because women, we still haven't told the whole truth about our life, and we still are too split. So yes, it's Magdalene, but Magdalene as a seeker, as a subject, someone who's owning her own subjectivity, who's the subject of her life and not the object of someone else's, you know.
Did she give you any freedoms, that sort of imposing
Well,
the history, the culture?
Well, it's always freeing to wear a slight mask. Even if you go to a party and you just wear the little black mask like this and everybody knows it's you, don't you feel better? So you can say a lot of things that you would be scared to say in another time and place. So Magdalene is every woman who ever lived. She's every woman living now, being gang raped in the Congo right now, being, you know, trying to work in Congress, right, in this city, you know, who's becoming a transgendered person. I mean, she to me is the female, the feminine rising principle, who is, you know, trying to integrate aspects of herself together. So she was a great person to that mask to put on, because she's been how do I say, hijacked, you know, by the early church fathers, and held there for so long. And every woman knows here that, you know, we still don't have enough archetypes that can integrate all aspects of human life for a woman in our imaginations.
Well, Adrian, you had turned to a historic figure in your third book,
Right.
And then moved in a deeply or clearly autobiographical direction with this. Can you talk about the experience of from 3 to 4?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that idea of mask and what a great gift it was to be able to, you know, through research and work, adopt a mask of Jack Johnson and be able to sort of tell these stories and interrogate the kind of political and social actions that I can't really address myself, right? I mean, his narrative is one that it goes much beyond anything that I've ever experienced. And also he was a very brash figure and you know, and amazing, and would change clothes 5 times a day so everybody could see how resplendent he was. But he also kicked everybody's ass in the ring. And so he's in this position where he's both capable of great celebration and also great violence. And I don't feel like I don't have that in me, right? I don't have that kind of braggadocio, like that kind of machismo. I don't have that kind of magnetism. And so to put on the mask and have that for a little while, or at least vicariously have it, was a great, great gift. And when I got finished, and I'd put all this man's work on its, 8 years worth of work and research, I had to come back and look at myself. Look, I can do that for somebody else. Why can't I do it for me? And so I went back and tried to turn myself into a character who might be a little bit more interesting than I am in my day-to-day life. And it started with economics. I kept thinking about, okay, I'm in a position now where I can talk about what it means to be so hungry and to be waiting for the school to open up so that you can get the free lunch, a free breakfast in the morning. And it's not a conversation we often hear, mainly because people who are poor are busy, like I was saying, like they're busy trying not to be. They're busy just trying to make it. And so it ends up being a kind of a redemption tale all the time when we hear about poverty.
But you've got these figures in this book, Sun Ra.
Yeah.
Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, Sun Ra.
And do you know who that is? Tell everybody who it is.
Yeah, so Sun Ra is one of the original Afrofuturists. He's a great jazz musician. He said he was from Saturn, and I don't doubt it. But he's a brilliant band leader and also
Orchestra.
Yeah, he used to perform with this thing called the orchestra. And Find Strange Celestial Roads, it's a brilliant song. But one of the things that also ties Sun Ra to this book, and also Basquiat and Prince
And Richard Pryor, God bless him.
They're all Black men who grew up without fathers like I did.
Yes.
And so one of the questions I was trying to interrogate too was like what it means to figure out how to be how to be a man when there were no men around.
Well, they might have been lucky.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing, right? I mean, like as soon as I got out to the suburbs, there was a different kind of thing happening.
The other men. Yeah. I mean, I adore this book, Adrian. First of all, I mean, you also the Black astronauts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the Voyager 1 and 2, the wonderful Voyagers. It's 40 years. The Voyagers are out there now, going forever and ever. And the music, the LPs, and
it's out in the heliosphere. It's past anything we've ever created.
I don't know if you all know this. Now until something hits them.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if you all know this, right? So the Voyager space probe is outside of the heliosphere, which means it's further out. It's past the sun's gravity. It's past all of that, out into the world. So there are recordings of Mozart and Louis Armstrong and babies crying,
laughter,
and it's out there. And but they have to figure out how to play it. So, like we don't even know how to play LPs now. So how is somebody like some space entity going to find this, right?
But you know what the greatest difference between us, and I was thinking, I mean, no kidding, I was yelling when I was reading this, and my daughter kept saying, what? I'm like, he is so good, he's so good. And you're so good in so many ways, but you are the master of metaphor and simile. I don't use anymore. I don't use them.
So this is being recorded, right? So I can go back and look at this and make myself
feel better. You could be Mom, Dad, look what Marie Howe says.
No, I'm serious. Look, this is so dog-eared, but the whole, I mean, you heard the first poem you read is such a great example. Not the first, the second, they're all great, but I mean, a metaphor where you just go like this, and the metaphors. I wanted to say, read that again slower so everybody can hear. I'm gonna show you. Where'd it go? With the one the West Side one, moving to the suburb one.
Yeah, Out of Here Blacks. Yeah,
that was it. So that's it. What page? Here it is.
This is like the best day of my life. Can we just stay here for a little while and do this? Because this is making.
Kidding. Wait. What's it called? Get Out of Here Blacks, right?
Out of Here, yeah.
Okay, so is Carriage House the neighborhood, the settlement, or whatever?
It's still there,
project?
and it looks exactly the same as it did in 1981. It's terrible, same maroon paint on the doors.
So just do this. Just read this real slow.
Everybody
listen to this.
Which part do you want me to read?
Just take it from the top and read it real slow.
See, now there's all this pressure.
No, just read the words slow.
Okay. If Marie Howe asks you to read your poem, you read your poem. That's how this works.
I love that he's giving me this authority.
Yeah. Well, come on. You're in the middle.
I've been stealing from you for years. So as soon as Mom married Pops, off to the suburbs, realm of glamorously blue swimming pools, carpools, and a spinning rack of comic books out in front of the village pantry. And we were out at Carriage House like kids. As soon as the mass sub turns his back, we were out like juice boxes after lunch. We were out on the west side, nowhere near our old neighborhood, like a well-organized poverty protest. I'm just going to stop there because
like a well-organized poverty protest, right? It's just gorgeous. If you wanna, and it goes on and on and on and on. but every single one of them was just.
So this is totally opposite of how I thought this conversation was going to go. I wanted to talk about Magdalene, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk a little bit about Magdalene. We only have so much time.
Then we gotta go.
Yeah. So maybe,
about
Adrian,
Rob.
you want to ask about Magdalene? No, I feel like, come on.
No. So one of the things that I was so enamored with was the way that you were able to work through myth to recreate it and reclaim these ideas of what a woman can be in all of these various ways. And I'm really interested in how that speaks back to your earlier work and the interrogations that you're having, especially the poems. Like I posted a poem on Instagram, Questions, and it's not from this book, it's from the book before, and everyone went nuts about the idea of having a dialogue with a mother. And I don't have my phone, it's in my bag, otherwise I would read this poem so you could hear it.
I learned that from Ellen Shapiro.
Really?
You know that great book, Song and Dance?
Yeah.
It's the greatest book, one of the greatest books ever. And also from Brenda Hillman, who has this other voice talking with her. Everything any writer does, they learn from somebody else.
It's really true.
Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like musicians, right? Because what we do is instead of listen, we read and we take in other people's poems, and possibilities open up within us. And, well, it's also dialogue between self and soul, right? It's so old. It's Yeats. It's before Yeats. It's, aspects of yourself speaking and answering yourself. It's a great thing to do. Everyone today, just sit down and have one part of yourself ask a question and the other aspect of yourself answer. It's fascinating to let yourself ask questions and answer them.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And the way that it operates, I think, between, I don't want to say characters, but between versions of the self as they appear. And Magdalene is just so gorgeous, too.
Versions of the self, right? That's what your book deals with, too. Because there's the poor, wonderful, vitally alive kid, trying to stay alive, and then he gets in the suburbs and he's still trying to stay alive. I mean, that's what's so great is that, he gets to the suburbs and you think, whew, good, at last, but no, because that too is going to be replaced, and it's so American, like that they're on a driveway that's one day going to be a parking lot, that's one day going to be a playground, that's one day going to be a mall. I mean, there's this wonderful sense of the constant replacement that occurs in this country, and how nothing is rooted.
Yeah. Well, and how do you think that operates in terms of identity, like self-identity and gender identity? How does that work for you, like that sort of
Well, it's the same. I mean, especially now, I don't mean to keep talking about myself as a woman, but I am. And so I feel as if that's what I mean. Like, I don't mean to keep narrowing, I mean to broaden it, that every male has a feminine, every woman has a masculine, this integration, and of course, so the patriarchy is quite different from men. Men are wonderful, but the patriarchal values which have subjugated women and the earth and the whole thing has forced women, like people of color, like to be pushed down and away, so that the energy actually in those beautiful energies is coming forth now, and has been for decades and decades, and it's healing. And so a lot has to be sort of sung to come back alive. Women's sexuality is not at odds with women's spirituality, right? Women as a mother is not at odds with her as a sexual, erotic person. I mean, these things have been split. So, to bring them back.
On that note, you should get a copy of both of these books. They'll be signing downstairs. Magdalene and Map to the Stars. Thank you to our wonderful poets. I'm so happy they met each other in front of you.
Thank you, Rob.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.